Hi, I'm Joe Navarro, and welcome back to People Watching. Today, I'm going to answer some of the questions that I've been asked about toxic individuals in dating situations. I'd like to expand on that a little bit. Let's just talk about toxic individuals in relationships. One of the things that stands out, and some of you who have read my book, Dangerous Personalities, will remember that the master manipulators will try to embrace you with all this attention and all this love, but it's short-lived. It's sometimes referred to as being love bombed. And the initial response from these individuals is overwhelming and it's wonderful, but in short order, what you find is that these individuals begin to treat you differently. And there's no finite demarcation. It's not a day later or 3 days later. You just suddenly feel like it's not the same. And what you begin to sense is that these individuals begin to control you, control your time, control your space, control your freedom, and begin to manipulate you by using your own weaknesses, your own needs, your own desires, perhaps your own insecurities. So we begin by examining these relationships by how intense it is and wonderful, and then it begins to change. The next thing that happens in these toxic relationships is that these individuals fail to meet your specific needs, and seemingly they require you to meet their needs. When you're feeling down, when you're tired, when you want attention or maybe just even a hug, it's not there. And that begins obviously to wear on you. The other thing that you notice is that they don't seem to have any kind of accountability. They don't apologize. They don't see the mistakes that they're making. They don't seem to want to validate that they're either being attentive or abusive or shallow or calloused or any number of things. And I tell people, anytime you're around an individual, and it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or at work, and they are indifferent to you, and they don't recognize that they're making mistakes, or that they need to apologize, or they have no conscientious feeling towards others, this is a huge warning sign. People who have no regrets and no remorse, and that fail to validate the needs of others and the times when they have hurt somebody, is someone that you really need to begin to keep an eye on or even distance yourself from them. One of the other traits that I look for in toxic relationships is there a measure of unequal treatment? That over time, suddenly the other partner seems to have more things, is entitled to travel or participate or even engage in other activities, and you are not. When they begin to treat you unequally, you're headed for problems, because there are people who like to put others down, and in doing so, they lift themselves up. So they overvalue themselves while at the same time devaluing you. People like that, you need to distance yourself from, because in time, they will take advantage of you and they never make you feel equal to them. Toxic individuals are often very petty. They're very jealous. They tend to put you down anytime you achieve something or you're successful at something. And they do this with such fluidity that it's often breathtaking at how callous they are, how they treat others. Even children, they'll come in and the child will say, "Look what I got today at school." and they'll dismissively say something like, well, I did better at your age, or something like that. Unequal treatment, jealousy, possessiveness is dangerous. And that's the word, it's dangerous. So you want to be looking for those traits because you want to distance yourself from individuals like that. Toxic individuals will often run hot and cold. 1 minute everything is fine, the next minute they're lashing out. That volatility, that what we often refer to as mercurial behavior, is in time very toxic to those around them. It just, in essence, wears you out. It wears out your patience. It wears out your ability to even think, because you're constantly trying to determine, where are they this morning? How are they behaving? Are they going to be nice, or are they going to be mean? People like that, whether it's at work or at home, are in essence destructive. They whittle away at how you feel, at your confidence level, even at you begin to question your own sanity. That's how toxic they can be. So whether you're dating this person or maybe you're married to them, it's never too late to take a look at how you're being treated and realize that when you're in a relationship that's up and down, roller coaster, mercurial, that you're headed for trouble, or you may already be in trouble. And of course, the other thing I always look for is, are they disrespectful? And sometimes disrespectful can be very vocal. Sometimes it is dismissive, or they are dismissive in their behaviors towards you. But also look for signs of contempt. Now, researchers have found that when in a couple, if they begin to see signs of contempt on the part of one individual, that is a pretty good indicator that this relationship is not going to last. Remember always, as I say, contempt is hierarchical, which means that somebody is putting themselves above and putting the other person down. That's not a good relationship. That's something you want to look out for and you want to identify so that you can then begin to make good decisions. Do I want to live with this person? And if so, for how long will you be willing to tolerate it? Which in the end, everybody that's ever been in a toxic relationship has that final conversation, which is, how much longer can I tolerate this before things get even worse? And so keep that in mind. Two last things to think about when we talk about toxic personalities. One is when they're very dismissive. And it's incredible to see in relationships how insidious it is that over time they become, the toxic individual becomes so dismissive that you begin to not ask them anything, tell them anything, suggest anything. When you're in a relationship like that, where they're dismissive of anything you think or say or suggest, it's time to get out. And of course, the last thing I look for in toxic relationships is when there's physical abuse, mental abuse, or any kind of rage. I tell everyone, even if you are a psychologist, this isn't for you. People like this, you're not going to fix. Get over that. People like this need professional help, and most of us are incapable of providing it, nor should we, because we are an interested party. So if you're seeing physical violence, people being thrown on the ground, people being pushed, objects being thrown, or if you see this rage, and I don't care if it's induced by drugs or not, rage is rage. You need to really have that conversation with yourself and say, how much longer am I willing to tolerate this? Now, you say, well, all these traits are toxic. I'm only seeing one or two of these. Let me tell you, if you're seeing one or two of these, that's probably too many. So ask yourself, ask your friends, does this seem right to you? And any relationship, whether it's at work or at home, that is wearing you down, is making you feel uncomfortable, is causing you mental, psychological, emotional distress, it's time to get out. So there you are. I hope this answers some of the questions that you may have about toxic relationships. Please subscribe, and if you're interested in more information, please take a look at my book, Dangerous Personalities. It was written with the perspective of victims in mind, and I hope you'll find it useful. Thank you.